and welcome back to the David67 Celtic News YouTube channel this Friday afternoon update video. It's going to have a wee look at the fixture list just announced for Celtic and for all the other clubs obviously, and also a wee roundup of the news of potential comings and goings at Celtic over this summer transfer window. Just going to have a wee look at Celtic's first 10 games of the 25-26 Scottish Premiership season. We'll be starting against St Mirren, Sunday afternoon game on the 3rd of August, 4:30 in the afternoon kickoff. So we ended the 24-25 season with a game against St Mirren at Celtic Park, and we're starting the 25-26 season at Celtic Park. I think St Mirren always are a challenging team to play. I think Celtic will be bang on their best form for that game. I'm pretty sure by that time we'll have a few new players scattered into the starting 11 and some extra firepower coming off the bench, and so I know real worries that we won't win that game. Then we have a potentially tricky away game against Aberdeen the following Sunday, 12:30 kickoff. Not the easiest place to go to on a Sunday lunchtime. And of course, Aberdeen did get the best of us in the end in the Scottish Cup final, although that game Celtic were much the stronger side, but Aberdeen did stick it out and win the game in the end on penalties. Then our third game of the season will be on Saturday the 23rd of August, home game against the newly promoted Livingston. That's going to be a 3 o'clock in the afternoon kickoff, and then the following Sunday, 12 noon kickoff on the 31st of August, Celtic will be going across the city to Ibrox for our first Glasgow derby of the season. And I'm very hopeful that Celtic will get a morale boosting and confidence boosting win over Rangers. I suspect that they'll still be in their rebuilding phase, while we'll should have things fully under control. We then have a couple of games in September, the first of which is on Saturday the 13th of September, 3 o'clock kickoff, away from home at Kilmarnock, and then 2 weeks later, another Saturday game, this time home to Hibs. We have 4 games in October, first of which is Saturday the 4th of October. That's down as a 3 o'clock kickoff, home to Motherwell. 2 away games on the 18th and the 25th, both 3 o'clock kickoffs against Dundee and Hearts, and finishing off the month of October with a Wednesday evening game, 7:45 in the evening, home to Falkirk. So I think a pretty good starting 10 games to the season. Good to get the first Rangers Glasgow derby game out the way nice and early, and even split of 5 home and 5 away games. Celtic also, like all teams, will have a rather busy time around Christmas and New Year over the 2 weeks between the last Saturday before Christmas, the first Saturday of 2026. Celtic on the 20th will have a home game against Aberdeen. Then the following Saturday, an away game against Livingston on the 27th. Then a Tuesday evening midweek match against Motherwell away. And then 12 noon kickoff on Saturday, the 3rd of January, home to Rangers in our second Glasgow derby of the season. And whether it's important or not, the 4th Glasgow derby will be at home for Celtic in the post 6-6 split at the end of the season. There were some suggestions at one point that with Celtic having their final Champions League qualifiers on the 19th and 20th and 26th and 27th, that there may be a postponement of the game around that time, which potentially might mean that the home game against Livingston gets postponed to later in the season. There were suggestions at the end of last season that the Scottish Premiership was going to adapt its fixtures to aid the various different Scottish teams in European qualifying matches, but that does not appear to be the case, although I dare say it could still be thrashed out between the clubs, the league, and the TV people. Do pop into the comment section what your thoughts are regarding the fixtures. Moving on to the news, and to be thoroughly honest, on Friday afternoon there's very little concrete news, a few rumours, a few news stories, a few stories dying away, but nothing concrete. The expected signings of Callum Osmand and Benjamin Nygren, thought to be very likely to have gone through this week. Neither has been confirmed today, Friday, and so I guess that's going to be a matter for next Monday, Tuesday. However, Callum Osmand apparently was seen at Lennoxtown both on Thursday and Friday this week, and so it does look like things are moving on apace, at least with Callum Osmand. And just as a wee reminder, the Benjamin Nygren deal from Northland, it would appear that personal terms have been agreed and a transfer fee of around £1.7 million from Celtic to Northland. That's also been agreed, but as yet, no signature on the dotted line. Another player Celtic are thought to have bid for is Hayato Inamura, the young Japanese left-sided centre-back and left-back, plays for Albirex Niigata in the J-League. It's thought that Albirex are happy with the fee. It's thought that Inamura is keen to leave Japanese football and try his time in Scotland, and so it's a matter of negotiations between Celtic and Albirex for the next day or two, and also with Inamura's agent. And it may well be that that is a signing that occurs sometime later in June. Not such a good news regarding Michel-Ange Balikwisha, the versatile wide player and attacking midfielder currently playing for Royal Antwerp in Belgium. Balikwisha apparently is keen to leave Belgian football and is also keen to come to Celtic. Antwerp are happy to sell him, however, there appears to be some dispute over the asking price, with apparently Celtic not keen to pay £5.1 million for Balikwisha. There is some variation as to what his asking price should be. Somewhere around 4 to 5 million does seem to be the consensus opinion, and so maybe Celtic are trying to bring that down a wee bit, knowing that Antwerp are in financial troubles and keen and needing to sell players to balance their books. Another player Celtic have apparently been looking at for a wide player role, Sondre Orjasaeter, currently playing for Sarpsborg in Norway. He was a player that Celtic were looking at in the winter window, but at that point it did appear that neither Orjasaeter nor his club Sarpsborg were keen for him to leave at that time. However, he has been in the press to say that he's keen to leave Norwegian football this summer, although did not make any mention of coming to Celtic. No update on the Greg Taylor contract situation. His deal with Celtic has just a few more days to run. Doesn't look like there's any progress on Taylor signing a new contract at Celtic, and all the speculation remains about which club he's going to sign for free from this summer onwards. Was thought that PAOK in Greece were the number one favourites for his signature, however that appears to have stalled, and there is no longer thought to be ongoing negotiations between the two. And Copenhagen in Denmark now seem to be the main team looking at signing Taylor, although there is some speculation about English Championship clubs and Major League Soccer clubs in America also both looking to sign him. Interesting story also about our ex-player Kyogo Furuhashi, who of course left Celtic to go to Rennes because the Japanese international manager wanted him to be playing at a higher level of football. Unfortunately, his time in France has been very disappointing. Some were speculating that he is uh, likely to be going back to play in the J League. However, it now appears the most likely place for Kyogo to be playing next season is for Birmingham City, of course managed by ex-Celtic assistant manager Chris Davis, also where Tomoki Iwata, our player, was transferred for around about £1 million last summer. And it's now thought that Kyogo is very likely to sign for Birmingham this summer, which I find quite surprising, as I would have thought surely Kyogo playing in the English Championship wouldn't be such a good level of football as Kyogo playing in the Scottish Premiership, but particularly playing in Champions League matches, which of course he would have been doing on a very regular basis for the rest of 2025 if he still was at Celtic. No progress on or change on any players definitely leaving Celtic. No changes in terms of any of the players coming back from loan seasons as to whether they are staying or going or getting a second chance. And at the moment, I have to say, a wee bit disappointed at the lack of concrete moves in and out the club. Still a wee bit on the early side. Our first pre-season game against Queen's Park is 2 weeks today, on the 4th of July. And the players will have been back in pre-season training for a few days before that. And hopefully we get things finished off nice and quickly over the course of the end of June into the first few weeks in July. So that just about finishes things off for today. Just a wee polite suggestion, encouragement. If you are new to the channel, not yet subscribed, please do click that subscribe button. If you do like the channel, do like the video, please click that like button. It does help boost the channel no end. And do feel free to pop your own thoughts regarding the transfers, the ins and outs, and any other Celtic issues into the comment section for a nice wee chat and debate. And so until the next video, goodbye and hail, hail.